What's the worst thing you've done to your neighbor? The F word was written in piss all over his yard. Growing up in a typical suburban neighborhood, I frequently had to interact with the typical neighborhood bullies. My bad luck, however, was that the local bully lived right across the street from me. Even worse, the whole family, kid my age, his older brother, and parents, all exhibited the same lack of social niceties and were all equally despised by not only those around us, but by seemingly everyone they interacted with. They seemed to revel in their bad reputations, and it was clear by the lack of parental correction even when an adult called out one of the hellions that there would be no change in their demeanor. The father would routinely get into physical altercations with passers-by whose dogs stepped foot on his meticulously manicured lawn. The mother would threaten lawsuits for slander against the elementary school teacher when summoned to discuss her children's behavior. The community pastime was discussing the latest atrocity some member of the family had committed. Now, I mentioned the father's lawn, his pride and joy, even more so than his children, judging by the amount of time he spent in maintaining it. My home had a prime view of his treasure as we sat up on top of a small hill looking down and across the street on it. Summer mornings were frequently started by him firing up some apparatus to coax a little more green out his grass or blow some errant leaves that dared trespass within the confines of his 50 by 30 foot plot of fescue. It was annoying, but we knew better than to complain. Someone, however, decided action was needed. To this day I have no idea who the culprit was. I often joke it was my mother, but she adamantly denies the allegation. But whoever our justice-spewing vigilante was, my hat is off to them. It was a slow burn and started innocently enough. The father asked my mom if she had noticed any dogs urinating in his yard while they were on vacation. Of course we hadn't, but even if we had, she had better sense than to instigate another fight in the neighborhood. She assured him she'd keep an eye out, and keep an eye out we did. It soon became clear the pristine grass was taking a turn for the yellow in a couple spots right in the middle of the Jerk family's lawn. Within days the plan came into stark clarity, a perfectly executed F spelled in 6-foot, bright yellow, chemical burnt grass letters. The father was irate and his bully sons began interrogating us kids in an effort to calm his ire. My honest ignorance served me well and saved me a beating, but it piqued my interest in the caper even more. I watched with rapt attention through our front bay window as the bully dad dug up the offending vegetation. Many chuckles were shared in our home while we watched him realize he had replaced a yellow F for a dark brown F trench. He quickly fixed the problem by spreading new seed and laying hay over the whole mess. But it was a slow burn, as I previously mentioned. A week or so later we watched as he raked up the hay, plastered to the young grass by regular watering and pampering. Once it was all up and bagged, he stepped back to admire his work. The once yellow, then brown F was now a bright green, young and healthy F, he exclaimed so loud enough to hear over our air conditioning. Bully dad had the whole crew outside in no time, all armed with shovels and hose, and eventually dug up and reseeded the whole yard. A few weeks passed and all had returned to normalcy. That is, however, until I noticed another small patch of yellow pop up in the middle of the new grass.